All right, I have arrived. Hello.
We're live on the Catchin Up HQ.
You almost messed that up, didn't you? Because I did in my head.
Yeah, in my head it always still comes to that. But anyways, welcome back to the Catchin Up Podcast, episode 3 of season 3. So this is a pretty special episode. We got threes all around over here.
Yeah.
In case this is your first time tuning in, my name is Tyler.
My name is Gabriel.
And you know what? Let's just get it out the way. Let's go ahead and cue that intro. We'll do a little.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start. Introducing Catchin Up
I customized mine because I'm bougie.
It's not a 9, but it's not an 8.5 either.
Why are you this picky?
You have to be the one to open the door. You have to be the one to open your heart.
It's not about you. It's about touching other people's lives.
Catching Up Podcast. If you're not caught up, you're catching up.
I don't necessarily know what that means.
Oh, little
Projector screen?
projector screen. Okay.
Or, I don't know.
Welcome. One, how are you doing?
I'm good. I just woke up about an hour ago. So I'm good, though.
Nice,
I've had
nice.
enough time to get the energy up, for sure.
Nice. I've been up for. It's 1:30. I woke up at 8:30. So whatever the math is, in that 5 hours. Ugh.
It's so crazy. The time difference, bro.
Yeah. So I'm a little tired. I'm honestly really tired, but
Well, you still got a full day ahead of you, bub.
I do. I work after this.
He's on the grind.
Oh wow! Grind
Anyways.
mode. Sorry. Anyways, we got
gonna-
ADHD in here.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start this episode off because the last episode was a nighttime episode, so obviously we did not do anything with caffeine in it. So today we're gonna be reviewing the new
Ba-ba-da-bum.
iced cherry chai from Starbucks.
Starbies.
We basically wanted to just sometimes obviously Starbucks is not our favorite coffee place, but sometimes it's always fun to look on the menu, see what's new, see if anything is, see if anything's new, see if anything's interesting. And this caught our eye, and so we're gonna go ahead and do a little taste test.
Dude, it sounded like you kind of were like, that when people talk with that voice where he's like, Starbucks isn't our favorite coffee, but
I don't.
You haven't been like, oh, he's like, I don't like it here. He's like, I think I'm starting to like it here. You haven't heard that? Wow, Tyler, you're showing your age, bro. Ooh.
I mean, maybe I have. I don't know, bro. Sometimes I don't.
Oh, now you remember. Now you know what I'm talking about.
The memory slips up a little bit.
Okay. Anyways, the cherry chai latte. I don't know where my straw went, so here we go.
Yeah, I didn't get a
Cheers.
straw either. So I'm gonna try and taste the foam first, and then I'm gonna go for a full sip. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it foam?
Yeah, I think so. Or it's. I
don't know. We'll find out.
Top,
Here. There's something on top too. Whoa.
Yeah. That's right. I mean,
That's tasty.
for a chai,
Yeah.
that's really
For all my
good.
ASMRs. And for everyone that hated that, I'm sorry. I would hate it too.
I know the people that are only listening on audio right now are turning off the episode.
Yeah, for real.
Um,
All right. So, okay, I'll just go since I'm already talking. It looks great. It's pretty dope. The cherry is really good. It's very subtle.
Very subtle.
I'm not a big cherry dude. Or at least I'm picky with my cherry. So, I think it's great, bro. I think it's really sweet though. If you're not a sweet drink kind of person, you're probably gonna hate this. But if you like chai and you love sugar like Ty and I, this is your guy. 10 out of 10 for me.
wow. Okay. Nice. Yeah. I really like it too.
I'm gonna get diabetes from this for sure, but I'm okay with it.
So I haven't had a chai latte in a long time, My girl actually started getting them at this coffee place we go to by her. So like I tried a couple of theirs and I was like, oh, this is good. I like a chai latte. Like I could do this because usually like I'm getting coffee. I'm not getting tea whenever I go somewhere. So I'm glad I tasted that before, so I know what a chai tastes like. This is really good. Like he said, the cherry is very subtle. Pause. What did you just do? Because now I can hear your fan like crazy.
I don't know. I just stretched.
Oh, it's whenever you speak, it goes into just your voice. But whenever you're not, it's like...
Oh, hold on. Go. Keep talking. I got to
Okay.
fix the settings on the iPad.
So anyways, yeah, so I'm glad I got to try that chai. This is really, really nice. It's very, again, like he said, it's sweet, but I think chai lattes are supposed to be inherently a little bit sweet. And the cherry just adds a nice little burst of flavor. Again, like he said, it's not overpowering to the point where you're like, whoa, that just tastes like they put cherry syrup in there, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure
not
they
at all.
did. But it's a nice little touch. If you like cherry, like he said, he's not the biggest fan, but he likes it. So if you like cherry, you're probably really gonna like this. I would at least recommend just trying it if you like chai lattes because it is really good. I'm gonna go ahead and give it for a chai latte, 9 out of 10.
All right, fair enough. Also, I forgot to add that there's like little stuff on top. I don't know what they were. Kind of look like
Sprinkles?
Pop Rocks or sprinkles. Pretty good. Pretty good.
It's really good. It almost tastes like, in a way, it almost kind of tastes like cereal milk. Like if you had like, some sort of cherry flavored cereal, right?
You know
Like
what?
it kind of,
Yeah. This flavor has a mochi bomb.
That'd probably go hard. I can't lie.
Bro, bomb. A cherry cereal milk.
Oh, well, you said this flavor.
But this
Like,
tastes
with the
like
chai
that. But yeah,
latte.
it is chai, obviously. Anyways,
makes sense.
whatever. On to the next
So that's our
topic.
review. Let us know if you've ever tried this or if you're gonna try it, because I think it's fairly new to their menu. I don't know. Again, like I only go to
don't know.
Starbucks if I'm in like a pinch and I want coffee. But yeah, it's good. I definitely recommend it. Gabe had a little topic he wants to chat about this episode, so I'll let him go ahead and tell us what he wants to talk about.
Well, first off, I want to say that I have this is fried rice. Sorry, I didn't eat for the podcast. Because, tell me how I'm driving home, like yesterday, and I'm like, oh, they opened a brand new Starbucks, like literally like 5 minutes away from my house. That's awesome. Because the other one is like 10 minutes in the opposite direction. And then, so I'm like, oh, I got to get up coffee. I always wait till the last minute because, you want it to be good for the podcast.
Right.
And I go there. They're not even open yet.
What time did you go? You're like,
When I texted you,
how are they not open? Oh, you mean like this? They haven't opened yet.
they haven't opened yet.
I thought you meant like they were. I'm like, dude, there's no way Starbucks opens at like 4. Wow. Well, that funny enough, I was gonna actually text you to be like, hey, make sure they have this because again, it's a new item. Because I looked it up on the one that I usually go to, and I usually wouldn't have done this, but I looked it up and they were like out of stock of this one. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad I didn't go to that. So I was gonna text you, but I was like, Florida seems to have it more together. They'll probably have it at every location. But I guess if the location's not open, they can't have it.
Yeah, I had to learn that the hard way. So that's why we started late and I didn't get to eat because
my gosh.
I had to go to a different Starbucks. I had to go to 2, technically.
Well, that's the fun of the coffee
so,
reviews. I almost got a
yeah.
ticket. You had to go to 2 Starbucks.
I had to waste my time.
Something new every week.
Yeah. Okay, so the topic that I wanted to bring up, just because I think I don't know, I think it's just kind of like a relevant topic all the time. Because we always get caught up in, life has a funny way of distracting us in the sense of you have to have a goal and you have to set your mind on it and you have to know who you are. You got to figure out, you got to figure out who you are. You got to know who you are. Then you got to figure out a career or what decisions to make and where to go in life. And I think it put ourselves in like a God complex and whatever we want and what it is like, if I want to be a musician and an artist, like that's what I'm gonna be, and like that's all we work towards. Versus me asking like, "Yo, God, like I got these abilities to make music and sing and play and whatever the case may be. What do you want me to do that glorifies you? Because what you want me to be is who I am. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't actually know me. You know me better than me. God's the one that created you. So I think especially when you're a Christian, because it doesn't like, I guess it doesn't apply for like a better way of saying it, if you're not religious. But like for the religious aspect of it, it's like, it's so easy to fall in that line of, oh, I go to church and I believe in this, but like, I need to get the highest SAT scores because I'm going to be valedictorian and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then when you start doing that, you start idolizing those things in your life and your career and what you want to be, instead of making God your priority. And I don't know, I feel like it's just one of those traps that we all get in because that's just how the world makes us operate.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that even applies nowadays to, so many different things of like what we feel and what we think. And it's almost like we're putting our thoughts and our feelings over our creators.
Yeah.
What he set out for us. You know what I mean? In so many different aspects. And, even like you said, you were like, I guess this doesn't really apply to people who aren't religious. And like, that was me for so long, bro. Like, I've lived the majority of my life as a non-religious person, I think like I'm a little over a year, probably like a year and a half into my Christian faith. And so again, I'm 27, so I lived, basically about 25 years without a religion. I mean, I went to Catholic school growing up, but again, it wasn't really like I was there because I chose to be there, right? So for me, like I was living my life with such like my own motivations, my own desires, my own wants, my own goals. And like that was it. Like I was only living for myself. I wasn't living for anybody else. I wasn't living to serve others. I wasn't living to do what God wants me to do. I was living solely for myself. And again, my own selfish desires, which a lot of the time was money, which to some degree was some sort of fame, which to some degree was some sort of wanting to have this following of people. And I like looking back on it, I chased such worldly things that like nowadays with God, but also like just getting older, it's like those certain aspects of that. I'm like, I don't even know if I don't even know if I want that anymore, but it's just like when you're so caught up in looking at all these worldly things and you go on Instagram and you see people with so many followers and money and all these brands giving them stuff. And you're like, man, like that seems really cool. I want that, And I think that's a society we're in today is like everybody just wants that. They want to be the new it person, But anyways, all that to say, because I'm in the entertainment industry, that's why it kind of follows with what I'm going with. But and I don't mean to say all this to say like we should still have our own desires, we should still have our own dreams and goals. Like that's okay to have. But nowadays, now that I have a relationship with God, I take it all to him. And just to give a personal example, like I'm an actor and I've been doing this for 10 years now. And it's been the only thing that like I've ever wanted to do as like a career, quote unquote, since I started. Because every other job I worked, like I've liked jobs. I've had jobs that I was like, this is cool for the time being, but like I don't want to be here for the rest of my life for sure. Like I absolutely know that. And then when I'm acting or when I'm on set or when I'm, in class, I'm like, yeah, I love this. I want to keep doing this. This is like something that I enjoy doing. Like it brings me so much happiness and joy and fun doing it. But just in this past year, this current year, which is only like a couple of months, I've really started bringing it to God because I moved out here 2.5 years ago. And I literally just booked my first thing out here like a month ago. So I basically was out here for over 2 years with no bookings, little auditions. And of course, we had a lot of different variables out here. We had the strikes, we had the fires, et cetera, et cetera. So there was a lot of things that were hindering the acting atmosphere in California. But it was just pretty discouraging because for me, I went from in Florida, booking something every couple of months to coming out here and nothing. And so I just brought it to God and I was like, hey, like if this is maybe like, I don't know, and again, it's hard because the acting industry you can go a long time without working. But for me, I was like, hey, if this is like a sign that like this is what I'm meant to be doing, like please just show me that. And if it is, I just and if it's not a sign that I shouldn't be doing this, I just ask that you bring me opportunities. I'm not asking you to get the role. I'm not asking you to book things. I'm just asking for more opportunities to come in. And then literally a few weeks later, I end up booking that film. So needless to say, the power of prayer. But also, I've also started recently talking to him in the sense of, if this is not what you want me to do, if I can't be a light in the industry for acting, if I can't go into this industry and be a light and spread the gospel and share the good news, then like place me somewhere else. Like if this is not what you see fit for my life and according to your will, then place me somewhere else. And I'm fully okay with that now. And that was something that like, man, again, even going back a year, like I would never in my life say, I would never in my life think, I would never in my life be like, oh, I'm not going to, submitting my will to God. Like, no, that would have never happened. But as you grow in your relationship with him and as you continue to trust him and build this relationship and learn about him and know about him and understand him, you understand that we're all here serving him. So it's either I'm going to rebel and do things my way, or I'm going to take it up to him, give it up to him, and let him guide every step of mine. And again, a lot of the times nowadays, it's like I love acting. I truly do. I still want to do it as a career. But I also want to do it for different reasons now, in the sense of I don't, like, the fame doesn't attract me anymore. Of course, like, we all want money to a degree so that we can live well and have a nice house and provide for our families. But like the biggest thing is I want to be a light in the industry. I want to be somebody who can, spread the gospel on set. I want to be somebody who can spread the gospel to, if I ever happen to win an award one day. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to use these platforms, we're using our platform to spread different aspects of our faith. Like I want to be able to infuse my faith into everything that I do. And if I can't do that, then like I don't really see the point in doing it. You know what I mean? Like it's just again, there's room for other areas, but at the same time, this is something that like we're called to do. We're called to, the Great Commission. We're called to make disciples. We're called to be lights in different pockets. And there's so many different ways of doing that. But again, it's just submitting your will to his. So yeah, I think it's a really different perspective from you because you've been a Christian your whole life. So I think growing up, I mean, I'm sure you've had struggles with it, but I think you've always had that mindset of like, let me talk to God about this. Whereas like for me, it was purely out of just like, I had no thought or concern for what God wanted. I didn't even know who God was. So it's been a very eye-opening journey for me, and I think it's only led me to the better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I'm not gonna say his name because I didn't even ask him if I could talk about it on the podcast, but I was talking to a buddy of mine and like we grew up in church together and all that stuff, and we're still best buds, but like live in separate parts of the country, doing our own stuff.
Oh, like
And
us.
yeah. Oh no, I'm talking about Tyler. Plot twist. You're like, you weren't supposed to say that on the pod. No, but long story short, he was just saying like how he's going through and he's starting to realize that although he accomplished a lot and he did it himself, he's realized that it's like he still feels empty, he still feels like he hasn't felt joy in a long time. And I'm like, yeah, and that's because that's what we're wired to do. Is like, it doesn't matter how you feel. It's like, I don't know if you guys saw I always saw a clip of it, of like Mr. Beast talking about how he's like, oh no, I'm not happy. Like, more often than not, I want to quit this, but like, no one's going to do what I do because I'm the only one that's crazy enough to do it. And that's why I'm as successful as I am. Like, I feel like our culture is so like, you're going to work towards something no matter what. And then once you achieve it, it's going to be great. But then you get there and then you realize it's not.
Yeah.
And then you just got to keep going. And then it's like, bro, I have so many friends that like, you look on paper, you're like, wow, you started your own company. You're running your own thing. You're financially stable. You have a significant other, or you graduated top of your class and you got a great job. You got a great job. You got, you're fit, you know, you whatever. You got the savings, you got the car, you got the looks, you got everything. You're a good person. Like, you're not a piece of crap. Like, you know, you have good morals, but there's something missing. There's always something wrong, because it's just like, you're idolizing all that stuff versus, yo, God, like, what do you want me to do? Like, where am I supposed to be? I'm also a big believer in like God taking away blessings too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that it's like God gave you the gift of acting, God gave me the gift of music, right? And I'm a firm believer that if you use it to glorify Him, He's gonna continue to bless you, not bless you. But I'm a firm believer that He can take it away just like that, just because it's like, why? How would you feel if you gave someone a gift and they just like completely misused it for the wrong things?
Yeah.
Something against you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I
And I feel like that's.
so many different
Go ahead.
thoughts.
I know you were like, "Mm."
Well, no, because I just like you say something, I'm like, oh, it's good, I have this, and then you say another thing, oh, it's good, I have this, but I'll just go with this one because it piggybacks off that. But
It's good banter.
it's even just, I think this whole message too encompasses God is not going to give you something that you cannot handle at that time, right? Like, for example, with my acting, right? Again, I wasn't a believer a few years ago, but if I was, right? Or even if I wasn't, right? Let's say God just decided to give me some roles when I was in my early 20s and, you know, I got big and I got famous, or like even we had an old podcast. If we got big and we got famous, like thinking back on those things, like one, I was not in the mental position to handle any of that. Fame, money, a following, a platform, whether it comes to the acting or whether it comes to the podcast. And I would also say that me and you are in such a better spot for us personally in this podcast and what we want to be talking about. Like, think about if we would have back in the day when we were on our old podcast, we wanted the platform, man. We wanted to be making money. We wanted to be having a following. And like, just looking back and thinking about it, like if that was our life right now, if that actually happened, like one, we weren't prepared for it. We were not ready for it. We were not stable enough for it as a collective. But also thinking like we would be stuck in that. Like, think about it. Once you're at that level, right? You have so many expectations on you, and like this has now become your source of living. So it's like to blow that up would be such a detriment to like yourself. You know, it's doable, but I'm just saying it would be a much harder situation than we were in. And so just like,
or that we could have handled.
If you ever take time to like look back at your life and be like, you know, because you can take the reverse of this. You can be like, oh, why isn't God giving me this yet? Or why isn't giving me this? Or why isn't He not helping me with my passions and my desires? And it's like, maybe you're not ready to handle that yet. The place where you want to be, you're not ready for that yet. And He knows that. You don't know that. I didn't know that. He didn't know that at the time. But now looking back, I'm so thankful that like none of that happened, because I wouldn't be in the place where I'm at today. Like I genuinely don't think I'd be where I'm at spiritually with my faith. I genuinely don't think that like I'd have the same friends that I do. I don't even know if I'd have the same girlfriend, because maybe we wouldn't have met. We wouldn't have come across each other, you know? And it's like,
I think our relationship would have been very different too.
yeah, exactly. I don't even know if we'd have this podcast. You know what I mean? So like, there's so many great things in in God's patience for you. And you just have to like take a step back and look at it instead of always going to the negative, why I don't this or why I don't that or this. Like take a step back and be like, was I ever ready for that? Sometimes I still don't know if I'm ready for that. You know what I mean? Like even with this podcast, sometimes I'm like, man, I still have a lot of learning to do. I still have a lot of growing to do, and I'm always going to. So like, you're never gonna be 100% ready, but only He knows when you will have the ability to understand and to navigate your way through things. Because again, with more money, or I'm just using this as an example, but with more money, more problems, right? More platform, more problems, more followers, more problems. Because there's so many different things that come with that, and everybody has an opinion nowadays, and this and that. So He only knows when you're able to handle these things, and He only knows when you are at the level personally to where you are able to maintain these things and to use them for good. And so that's another really big thing in this whole thing is like, you may think that like you should be here, but He knows that you shouldn't be yet, right? So
You ever heard of? I had a guy one time, because we were talking about the term free will and how the Bible, I guess, never really says that. Like, there's nowhere in the Bible that the words are said that we have free will. But it's a thing that like most people believe. And then he was one of the few people I've met that's like, oh, free will is not a thing. Free will is not a thing at all. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And then he goes, the example he used was his son, right? He's like, I know my kid. He's like, I know that if I say, I don't remember the example, but he's like, if I say, don't eat a cookie, he's going to eat a cookie, right? Like, I know that. So it's like, I got to approach it differently. So it's like, if God, who knows you better than anyone, what's it called? If the creator of the universe that created you, that knows you better than you know yourself, you think He doesn't know what He has to do to make you do what He wants? Right? Like, isn't that an interesting way of thinking of like, if He knows that if the light turns red the second I get there, that I'm going to want to take a right instead of a left, He's going to make that, He can either make it longer or make it shorter. You know what I mean? Like just a little decision like that. So then I think it's crazy when it's like, obviously I feel like we do have free will because you can so easily not listen to God.
sure.
And I think that's so beautiful that it's like He gives us the option to be like, no.
Yeah, it's in a sense where like
Lesson
he can
and
put
learn.
things. Yeah, He can put things in your life for you to learn, for you to be thankful, for you to be grateful, for you to understand. But there are some people who are just so opposed to that. And again,
Yeah.
going back to again, I'm not saying they never will, but again, going back to me, bro. Like there were so many things in my life where I just looked at it and I was like, oh, I think the universe. You know what I mean? And now looking back on that, I'm like, what does that even mean? Like that makes zero sense to me now. But all that to say, like, it's He's not gonna make something happen and then force you to like put it give it to Him, right? So it's like that is a really interesting concept, and something that we could obviously probably talk about in another episode, because we're a little bit short on time today, and we still have one more thing we want to get into. So we hope that you guys learned from that. I learned from that. I love like always having these conversations during the podcast because like I get to hear his experience and he gets to hear mine, because a lot of the time, again, like, yes, we're best friends and we talk and communicate almost on a daily basis, but a lot of the times, like, we're in different time zones and he's working when I'm working and vice versa, or he's got to spend time with his wife and I got to spend time with my girlfriend. And so like, we don't really have like a lot of time to have these conversations off the podcast. Sometimes we do. But not as much as we'd like to. So like, it is always great for us to just have these conversations and get to hear about each other's experiences, as you guys are as well.
Yeah, sometimes I forget we're recording a podcast. I'm like, oh, right, I gotta say something.
Well, yeah,
'Cause I'm
because
just
we're
like,
also
wow,
on a
like,
little
we're
bit
just-
of a time we don't want to go.
Crunch, yeah.
We're not Joe Rogan. We ain't going 3 hours just yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. We could though. We honestly probably could.
We could, you know what we could do? We could definitely be with those people that do like a 24-hour live stream. And just talk the whole time. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to get into a little bit of some fun stories that we have from our past. Gabe's was more recent, I believe. So if you want to take the wheel.
I forget what story it was.
I'm trying to remember too.
What did we agree on? I feel like this.
I was going to tell my Atlanta story. And you were... Oh, yours was the gas station.
Oh. Okay. I remember. Because it was how perception's reality and how we can like totally misread situations. Right?
Yeah. Misreading situations.
So okay, I think it was, okay, my bad. I got it.
No, I forgot too. I was like, why did he bring this up again?
You said we have a third topic, and I was like, we do. I was like, what? I was like,
story,
if I remembered we had a third topic or a story, I like because I kept rambling about what we were talking about before because I was just like, oh, this is all we got.
Right.
But okay, so I called Tyler because I was at the gas station, right? I just pull up and I'm pumping my gas.
Yeah, he swerved in that corner. Whoa.
Oh yeah, and, bro, have you seen the people do the acoustic version when they play with the acoustic guitar?
No, I have not.
Bro, I'm gonna send it to you. It's hilarious.
Anyways,
back to me now. So I'm pumping gas, right? And some dude pulls up with his truck on the other side of the pump, right? And he comes out. He's got like dope hair, and I was just like, I look at him, and I was just like, hey, how you doing? I just smiled at him, and then he literally just like looked straight, and then he got in his car, and then just moved to another pump. And I was like, whoa, like, I was like, what has this world come to? Like, I can't even like smile at someone and be like, hey, like, and I don't think I even verbally said, hey. I think I was just like if you're a guy, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
So, and I'm like, I can't even do that because then I started getting uncomfortable because then he moved to the he moved to the pump that was literally like directly diagonal from me. So he was like, when he went to go grab his pump, he was literally like facing me. So now I'm just like, should I just like look away? Should I look away? Because clearly he doesn't want to talk to me or interact with me whatsoever to the point that I made him so uncomfortable. And I was just like, bro, I was kind of like freaking out. And I'm like, what's going on? And then, so I'm at like the second pump, and then another car pulls up on the other side, like where it would, if he stayed, they would have pulled up behind him.
Right.
So the pump behind him. So they pull up there, and then I just look at them, and I'm like, oh, I'm not even going to look at them because I don't want to offend anyone else. And then they move too. And then I realized that it's just the pumps on that side didn't work. And they were just out of order. So that's why they switched. So it had nothing to even do with me. And I was just like, wow, I totally misread that whole situation. I was like, I started getting anxious. I was like, what did I do? Like, what is going on? Like, this world is trash, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm trash. Yep.
Well, hey, that's how God humbles us, man. He's like, hey, just when you think you're doing good, he brings you back to earth real quick.
Yeah, he was like, remember, you are not the main character.
Right. Yeah, and then that whole situation, I was like, man, like, it's so funny how we misread situations because that happened to me a few years back when I was still living in Florida. I had an audition in Atlanta, and it was actually a callback in Atlanta. And the only reason I say this because usually for auditions I would drive there because I was like, I don't got the part yet. I'm not gonna like spend my money on a flight. But I had a callback for a commercial, so I was like, all right, like, I'll fly there. It's only an hour flight versus a 6-hour drive. I just driven up, like, I think the week prior for the audition. So I was like, I don't want to do that again. Because I would do it in the same day. I'm 6 hours there, audition, 10 minutes, 6 hours back. It was crazy. But anyways, so I was like, all right, I'm going to get a flight. So I fly to Atlanta, and I'm chilling in the airport, and it's like, oh, it's like, I think the place was like 20 minutes away. So around like, an hour away, like when it's an hour till the time, I start looking for an Uber. And I'm looking, whatever, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta go out to the drop off area anyway. So I start walking out to the drop off area because like I don't know. I'm not super familiar with the Atlanta airport, but like it was a little bit far away. So I was like, okay, I want to like book it out there. That way, like I don't book it and then he's here. Cause usually like airport, they'll like, be really close by.
Yeah, they're always close.
So I start to go out to the area. I walk. It's probably like 15 minutes from where I was. And there's no connection out there. Like zero at all. Even if I walked like 5 minutes back towards where I was at, no connection. I was like, what? How is this a thing? Like you're having a whole Uber pickup situation where you need your phone, you need service, and there's no service out here. And so now it's like it's trickling down. It's probably like, 30 minutes until the audition. And again, it's like 20 minutes away. So I got like 10 minutes. I need to get a ride because like I don't want to be late also. I just flew here to not be late. You know what I mean? And so I see this guy and this guy sees me. He's like he's got an Escalade and he's standing in front of it and he sees me. I'm clearly looking lost. He's like, yo, you need a ride? And I was like, yeah, man, like I can't get this Uber app to work out here, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, like I can give you a ride. Like I'm a driver. I'm just waiting to give somebody a ride. And so I was like, okay. I was like, how much? And he was like, 75. And I was like, bro, like this place is 20 minutes away. Like I really need to get there, but I'm not about to pay $75 because I guess it was like an XL because it was a big car, but like nobody else needed a ride. I did. So he was willing to give me one. And I was like, I can't do that, bro. And he's like, all right, man, like, you know what? Since it's just this quick, I'll do it for $40. And I was like, okay, like still probably way too expensive, but like I need to get to this audition. I don't have any connections, so let's do it. So we get on the road and we're talking and he's like, yeah, man, like I drive for a lot of big celebrities and all this. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. Again, this is like, I'd only been acting for like a year at this point. So like, this is also very new to me. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, this guy drives for celebrities. That's cool. And, so we're driving on the highway. We get off the highway. And at that point, the conversation had simmered down and we turn and we go into like this, all of a sudden, it's this really, really rough neighborhood. Like when I say rough neighborhood, it's a rough neighborhood. And it is, and we're like driving through it. And I'm like, bro, there is no way this audition place is anywhere near here. Like that would make no sense. And so, we're driving through it and I'm like, man, this is it. Like he's about to just kick me out. He's going to take my stuff. Like I have my laptop on me. I have my phone on me. I don't have, he's just going to take my stuff, kick me out. I'm going to be stranded and I'm going to get robbed and I'm going to be stranded in Atlanta. And
that would be a great movie.
And then, so we're riding around there for like what feels like forever, but it's like 5 minutes probably total, which is still a long time. And then finally he gets out of like that area and he's like, whew, he's like, man, I'll tell you what, I live in Atlanta and I haven't even been that scared in a minute. He's like, I don't know what happened with my GPS, but it took me into that area and I was freaking out too. And I was like, man, you don't even know.
Bro,
so
that's
we're
so
both
funny.
having like and this is like, he's like a big dude, bro. Like, you know what I mean? This isn't somebody that like, you think he could probably handle himself if he got into a fight. But again, me and him are both like in our head, like, this is not safe. You know what I mean? But instead of like talking about it and being like, hey man, this is I think we might be lost. We're just kind of both like, but it all ended up working out. I got to my audition fine on time. Didn't book it, but I have an experience from it to tell. So
yeah, you do. Which is worthless. Priceless, not worthless. Wow. Which is priceless.
All right. You're clearly done.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you got something out of this. If not.
Yeah, if you have any stories or situations you've been in and the situation has been misread, let us know in the comments because I would love to read some of those.
Yeah, honestly, that'd be such like a funny like little Reddit series.
That would be cool if we could actually get some
like a misread situation thread.
Yeah.
Like
that'd be fun.
That would be fun. That could be like a whole thing.
So
and
help us
we could
out.
Do like a story a week. Yeah. Give us some content. to talk about. Jeez, the world is boring. Nothing ever happens on the news.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 3 of season 3. Again, a very special episode, double 3. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Once again, I am Tyler.
I am Gabriel.
And we'll see you for episode 4.
Yeah, peace.
Peace.
Catching Up Podcast. If you're not caught up, you're catching up.
I don't necessarily know what that means.